Welcome, noble ones, to Metatron's Academy, to episode 6 of this new series about can an Italian understand, and then we put a language. Now, we've done quite a lot of actual foreign languages from our point of view. We've done Portuguese, Spanish, French, but what about the actual languages of Italy? The so-called dialetti, so the dialects, although again, pretty much they're different languages. The regional languages, we could say. Today we're going to start with Neapolitan, or il napoletano. So, of course, I'm not from Naples, otherwise making this video wouldn't make any sense. I'm from Sicily, from Palermo. So, can someone who's still from the south, but from a different area, and even more so, an island, so I'm actually kind of detached from mainland, can I still understand someone who speaks Neapolitan? Now, one thing I'd like to say about the way people speak in Naples and also in the area around Naples and the whole region with all the different sub-varieties is that it's not that people only use Neapolitan in that area. You have to understand that, yes, sometimes when you talk about like Napoletano stretto, so it's like people are using actual Neapolitan language. It does happen, but other times it's more of a mixture. So they use some Neapolitan words with some standard Italian words. Perhaps other times they use Italian completely, but they are using a specific accent, or they have an intonation, or they pronounce some vowel clusters and consonant clusters in a way that makes it sound very much from that area. So it's very much of a mix. And when we're talking about speaking Italian with a Neapolitan accent, then I would understand that 100%. If I walk into Naples right now and I just speak standard Italian and people speak back, still using Italian but with just a Neapolitan accent, intonation, an occasional word, no problem, I'll understand that 100%. And I will show you kind of both so that you can see what I'm talking about. For example, this was basically Italian with a Naples accent. He said, mi hanno sgonfiato un'altra volta le ruote. But he just says it with sgonfiato instead of sgonfiato. So he sounds like he's from Naples, but I understand everything because the words are just in Italian. He said that someone just punctures the tires of his bike.
Veramente? Già. Mannaggia a terra, ero fui appassionato all'albero di limone che servette allo stripo di lattone che li casci e li gnamma a beta fragida, rostanna a recovato l'ossa caruriata di meglio morte che il sono stramorto.
Nothing. Now this is what you call Napoletano stretto, like 100%. Obviously he's like being theatrical about it. It's not like that everyone would react like he did and say such a long string of complaints, but the only one I could understand was lemon tree. I have no idea what he said. It sounded funny though.
No, ho fatto una commemorazione dei punto. E noi non avevamo capito perché voi l'avete fatto in napoletano stretto. E adesso ve la ripeti in italiano largo.
Yeah, this part I understood. I mean, the very beginning when the guy, the kind of on the left, he said something, I actually didn't catch it. Probably it's also because of the audio quality though in that case. If I was there, maybe I would have. But he understood everything else. The guy on the left himself said, well, we didn't really understand you because you said it in Napoletano stretto. Keep in mind that when we say stretto, it literally means, in English, it means tight. But it would probably be translated more like broad, when you speak with a broad accent. But and then the guy makes a joke and he says, okay, then I'll tell you in loose Italian, so like large Italian, which is not really how you say it, it's just joking. But let's see how he repeats it.
Mannaggia la terra dove furono seminati quei teneri alberelli di limone che sono serviti a rendere più lucidi i pometelli di attone che adornano quelle casse di legno di abete fradicio dove stanno raccolte le meglie trapassate e tutte trapassate vostre. Hai sentito, no?
Oh my gosh, that's comedy right there. I freaking love Neapolitan comedy. Anyways, yes, now he repeated it in like very well enunciated, still with a Naples accent, but well enunciated Italian, and I could, of course, understand it. Just at the end, at the very end, he said "trapassati vostri," which of course means your dead ones, which was kind of a peculiar way to say it. I think still connected to the way they say it in their own dialect or language. But yeah, that was hilarious. So as you can see, what's happening so far, we're going to try and find, this is a very old clip, we're going to try and find something a bit more modern for the second clip we're going to examine. But what's happening is that when people in Naples use Italian but just have a strong accent and put the occasional Neapolitan word, yeah, I can understand, no problem. No linguistic barrier, particularly also because I'm Southern, so at the end of the day, a lot of the things, we say them completely differently. A Sicilian accent and a Neapolitan accent, very different. But there are some common elements, and that probably allows me to understand it even more easily than someone, for example, say from the north. With that being said, I think even a northern person, the very first part where the guy was saying, they punctured my tires, no, everyone would understand that. It's just when he went into the full-on, super fast, actual Neapolitan language and expressions, he lost me there. So that was fascinating.
Questo è il tuo caffè, Sergi? Ma
che è stato un po'? No, sì, ma che è un cappuccino.
Yeah, I understood everything here. So, of course, they're again speaking differently. It's so funny. This skit is great. Some words are similar, like accusì, the way they say accusì, we say accusì as well in Sicily, we just say it with a different accent. So, but again, this might have been a little harder for someone from the north, but still, it was understandable for me. Beef. It's like drink, baby, beef. You can recognize it. Often what happens with Neapolitan is that they tend to cut words quite a lot. They do that in the Roman variety as well. We'll make a dedicated video, but one of the things that they do is that they sometimes cut words short, and then there are these vowel shifting. Baby becomes beef, and then they have the schwa at the end of words, I, for example, but you can still recognize the words, oftentimes. So Neapolitan is like that. Sometimes when they go like super thick Neapolitan, they lose me. But in the majority of cases, once again, probably because I'm Southern, I understand them.
No, se tu sei napoletano, io sono turco.
If you're from Naples, I'm from Turkey. That's what he said, because of course she's foreign.
Sono napoletana.
No, secondo me non sei napoletano.
So it's interesting because right now in this video you see that they are speaking to someone who's clearly foreign, and when they do that, one of the characteristics you'll find, it doesn't always happen, but what they do is that they will switch into a more sort of a closer variety to actually speaking Italian rather than using Neapolitan because they're speaking to someone foreign. They also do it when they speak to someone that is Italian but perhaps is not from there, and you can tell from the accent. And something that happened to me when I was in Naples is that I would maybe speak to someone and normally we would understand each other, no problem, even though we had different accents, but occasionally it would happen that they said something that was actually napoletano, and then I wouldn't understand, and then they repeat the same thing, immediately switching into a more Italian version of what they were saying. So they have this ability to kind of switch, which is something we can do in Sicily too. We can switch between Sicilian and Italian, and they do that too a lot.
Non mi contraddi perché asino ita chiappato torcia capa.
Sono fierissimo di essere.
Now this guy instead spoke Neapolitan, but I understood him. He said, don't argue with me or I will take your head and I will twist it. I think it was joking. I hope he was joking, but he did say it in the more, like, let me say dialect, in the more like the Neapolitan language version rather than Italian. But as we continue through the interviews, you will see, if you check this video, you'll find a link in the description, that they keep switching. You get some people using Italian, maintaining their accent, of course, and other people will directly, even if they're speaking to a foreigner, they will go into Neapolitan, sometimes Neapolitan first. Fascinating. Now, believe it or not, you do have Wikipedia in Neapolitan, so let's see now reading how much I can understand. Of course, I don't know how to pronounce it well. I can try and mimic it, but it would sound very awkward, so I'm not even gonna try. Let's see. Benvenuto, so of course that's welcome. Ngop, Wikipedia. Enciclopedia libera with to be cadute bon ragna. Okay, so I do understand. It says welcome. So ngoppa, it's like on top. We would say it in Italian su or sopra. In this case, su, or maybe benvenuti su Wikipedia. See, su, maybe. But ngoppa, it's of course very Neapolitan. It's just that it's very, very famous because of songs. And then he says the free encyclopedia, but they do spell it with to be because that's how they pronounce it. Cadute bon ragna, that everyone can change. That's what that means. Wikipedia napuli'ta'nə. Napulitan. Siamo felice e te vede qua. Yep, understanding. Questa Wikipedia. So reading is not a problem, but there will be words like, for example, ngop. That one is famous, but there will be other words like that one which sound nothing like Italian that I won't be able to recognize the moment I run into them. Let's see if I can find one. Nessuno è nato imparato. No one is born learned. Yeah, I understand that one. Condivide quello che sai con tutto un. Yeah, share everything you know with the entire world. I understand everything. But as I say, it doesn't mean that I always understand everything. It depends. It will depend on where you're from in Italy, because the further north you go, I think the less you will recognize within the vocabulary of the Neapolitan language. But when it comes to the south, there are some common aspects and some words that we say differently but are kind of similar and perhaps have similar roots. At the end of the day, you have to imagine that the Kingdom of Sicily, of the two Sicilies, used to be. There are still some common aspects and areas that common denominator, we could say, that perhaps would be easier for us to understand. But still, even though, again, I'm a full Southern, I'm Sicilian, sometimes I can understand, and I think even a Northern could read it and understand it. But other times when they use words that are very specific to the way they speak in their own actual regional language, then yeah, sometimes they lose me, particularly if they go in very broad or thick accents. Alright, but I hope that you enjoyed this video, noble ones. If you have any questions, if you wanted to speak about any other language, whether it be a regional language in Italy, whether it be another foreign language, let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you for joining Metatron's Academy.